You've probably noticed that turbocharged engines are becoming more common, especially in performance cars and modern fuel-efficient vehicles. So that raises a big question. If turbos offer more power and better fuel economy, why don't all cars come turbocharged from the factory? In this video, we're going under the hood to break down the real reasons why turbos aren't universal. From costs to complexity to driving feel, there's a lot more to this story than just boost. Let's get started. 1. Higher manufacturing costs. At first glance, adding a turbocharger might seem like a simple upgrade. Just bolt it on and enjoy the boost. But in reality, turbocharging requires a complete overhaul of many engine components. The engine block often needs to be stronger to handle the increased pressure, which means using reinforced pistons, forged connecting rods, and upgraded crankshafts. The cooling system must also be enhanced to deal with the extra heat turbos generate, which could involve larger radiators, oil coolers, and intercoolers. On top of that, the engine control unit, ECU, needs advanced programming and sensors to monitor boost levels, air-fuel ratios, and temperatures in real time. All these added features translate into higher production costs. For automakers trying to build low-cost or entry-level vehicles, these expenses can make a big difference in profit margins. That's why many manufacturers skip turbocharging in their most affordable models. Keeping the car simpler means they can sell it at a lower price point and still turn a profit, while also making it more accessible to price-sensitive buyers. 2. Increased maintenance requirements. Turbocharged engines come with more components, which naturally means more maintenance. From turbo bearings and seals to oil lines, intercoolers and blow-off valves, every part needs to function properly for the turbo system to perform safely. Because turbos run at extremely high speeds, often over 100,000 RPM, and generate a lot of heat, the engine oil must be top-tier synthetic and changed more frequently to avoid sludge or premature wear. If the oil isn't clean or breaks down, it can easily damage the turbocharger. On top of that, turbocharged engines often operate under higher stress, which puts more wear on gaskets, hoses, and even the exhaust system. For everyday drivers who just want a reliable, low-hassle car, this additional maintenance schedule can be a turnoff. Automakers know that not all customers want to deal with these extra responsibilities, so they reserve turbocharged engines for those who prioritize performance or efficiency and are willing to put in the care required. 3. Heat and cooling challenges. One of the biggest technical hurdles of turbocharging is heat. When a turbo compresses air, it heats it up significantly, and that hot air has to be cooled before entering the engine to avoid knock or power loss. That's why most turbocharged cars come with an intercooler system to reduce intake temperatures. But that's not all. Turbos themselves get red hot during operation, especially under hard acceleration or towing. This intense heat puts strain on the engine bay, requiring additional heat shielding, better oil cooling, and often more complex airflow designs to prevent overheating. All of this adds cost, complexity, and weight to the car. And if the cooling system isn't properly designed or maintained, the risk of heat soak, engine knock, or component failure increases. Naturally, aspirated engines, on the other hand, run cooler and require simpler cooling systems, which is why many manufacturers choose to avoid the heat-related risks of turbocharging unless absolutely necessary. 4. Turbo lag and driving feel. Turbo lag is the brief delay between when you hit the gas and when the turbo fully spools up to deliver extra power. While modern turbo technology has made great strides in reducing this lag, it hasn't eliminated it entirely. Some drivers find this delay frustrating, especially during city driving or when quick throttle response is needed for overtaking. In contrast, naturally aspirated engines provide instant power delivery. There's no waiting for a turbo to build pressure. What you feel on the pedal is what you get immediately. That kind of responsiveness can make the driving experience feel more natural and predictable. For performance driving or situations that require precise throttle control, like track racing or off-road adventures, this can be a big advantage. Automakers consider the intended use of a vehicle carefully And if the target buyer values smooth, predictable power over outright speed, a naturally aspirated setup may be the better fit. Fifth, engineering complexity. Installing a turbo isn't just about slapping on a high-performance part. It requires a complete redesign of the engine's architecture. Engineers must reroute the exhaust system to drive the turbo, redesign the intake manifold, and ensure proper intercooling for thermal efficiency. They also have to make sure all components can physically fit inside the engine bay without interfering with other systems. Then comes the tuning. Turbocharged engines need precise software calibration to manage boost pressure, prevent detonation, and meet emission standards. It often takes hundreds of hours of testing and development to make a turbocharged engine work reliably in real-world conditions. This complexity adds significant time and cost to the development process. For cars that aren't performance-oriented or don't need that extra efficiency boost, it may simply not be worth the engineering effort. That's why many automakers reserve turbocharging for specific models or trim levels where the investment makes sense.
6. Emissions control difficulties. Turbocharged engines often run lean under light loads to maximize efficiency, but they can also run rich or produce more particulates and NOx emissions under heavy acceleration. That creates a challenge when trying to meet increasingly strict emissions regulations worldwide. In some cases, automakers have to add extra systems like gasoline particulate filters, catalytic converters with advanced coatings, or even selective catalytic reduction (SCR) in diesel engines using urea fluid. These systems not only add cost and complexity, but also require more maintenance and can reduce performance. 7. Long-term reliability concerns. Turbochargers are often seen as high-performance upgrades, but that performance comes with long-term trade-offs. The added heat and pressure put more stress on the engine's components over time. While modern turbos are far more reliable than older versions, they still require careful engineering and proper maintenance to ensure longevity. If drivers neglect oil changes or run cheap fuel, the risk of turbo failure increases significantly. Naturally aspirated engines, on the other hand, tend to be simpler and more robust, especially for high-mileage driving. For fleet vehicles, commercial use, or buyers in rural areas where service centers may be limited, long-term reliability matters more than a temporary performance boost. 8. Real-world fuel economy isn't always better. On paper, turbocharged engines are more fuel efficient because they allow for smaller displacement engines with the same power output as larger ones. But that's under controlled lab testing. In the real world, the story can be very different. Many drivers love the feeling of boost and end up accelerating harder or driving more aggressively, which makes the turbo work more and burns more fuel. A small turbocharged engine under load, like when climbing hills, towing, or carrying passengers, can actually drink more gas than a naturally aspirated engine cruising along. And once the turbo kicks in, any fuel savings often disappear. This mismatch between advertised and actual fuel economy can frustrate owners.
9. Higher insurance and warranty risks. Turbocharged vehicles are often categorized by insurers as performance cars, even if they're family sedans or compact SUVs, just because of that added turbo. That classification can raise premiums, especially for younger drivers or those in high-risk areas. 10. Not all drivers need or want a turbo. Let's be honest. Not everyone is looking for power or performance when they buy a car. Many drivers just want something reliable, simple, and cheap to run. Whether it's someone buying their first car, a retiree looking for comfort, or a family that just needs dependable transport, the benefits of turbocharging might not matter. Some people even prefer the smoother and quieter operation of naturally aspirated engines. Less noise, no boost spikes, and fewer parts to worry about. Turbocharged engines make sense for certain users, like those who want sporty acceleration, better performance at altitude, or smaller engines with more power. But for the rest of the market, naturally aspirated engines continue to do their job perfectly. Manufacturers know this, which is why they don't force turbos into every model. Sometimes, less really is more. So while turbochargers offer some clear advantages in performance and efficiency, they come with trade-offs that don't make sense for every car or every driver. It's a balancing act between cost, complexity, reliability, and real-world practicality. What do you think? Should all cars be turbocharged, or is there still a place for naturally aspirated engines? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into automotive tech.